All right, everybody. Good late morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Still in Victory Monday mode on a Tuesday because that was a win that was good enough to stretch out for an extra day. But we are getting to the end of the 48-hour period, which means we have to start looking ahead. But we can continue to look behind us. And this video, we're going to do a little post-mortem on the week that was in week number 13, just to get a feel for whether or not the Seahawks are getting help. And I mean, they're getting help in some areas and they're not getting help in other areas, which is almost always going to be the case. But let's take a step back and size things up for the Seattle Seahawks based on what happened in week 13. Now, week 13, we had a lot of action on Thursday. We had the 3 games. We'll start there. And then we'll, of course, swing forward later in the week. But as it usually is, the results are a mixed bag. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. So there are going to be a couple games this week where it was kind of an either-or situation where both results were fine. Because someone had to win, someone had to lose. Like the Packers-Lions game is a good example of that. This was a game where whoever won was going to be in a pretty good spot and whoever lost was going to be in some trouble. And the Packers won and the Lions lost. So, yeah. It's kind of everybody's going to have their own personal opinion of which team is more dangerous. So you subjectively may have wanted the Lions to win. I will say the Lions have so many injuries right now with Laporta and Kirby Joseph, and of course the Amon-Ra situation and Frank Ragnow situation. So they are probably less of a threat, but I mean, the Packers, they got plenty of their own problems as well. So I think that's just kind of a game where either result would have been fine, and there isn't a lot to really stress about. Chiefs, Cowboys, pretty disappointing. Pretty, would have been really nice to just finish Dallas off here and now. I don't know about you guys. I am scared of this Cowboys team. Their offense is cooking. They probably have the best offense in football right now. They have 2 legitimate number 1 receivers, and they have an elite quarterback throwing the ball, and their defense has been completely reinvigorated by Quinnen Williams. And obviously, I'm not saying their defense is great now, but it is night and day. Night and day. So I would prefer somebody finish off Dallas so we don't have to worry about this. I would be terrified of playing this Cowboys team in the playoffs. But not ideal, not good. And Ravens lost, so that's good, right? Because remember, the Rams beat the Ravens. We do not play the Ravens. So the worse the Ravens do the rest of the way, probably the better for us. So yeah, good result here. Happy about it. And hopefully the Ravens get to a point where they just kind of roll over, although in that division, it's very unlikely it happens. So, yeah, we'll just have to see, but it helps. Every little bit helps. Friday game, this was another one where it's kind of like either result was fine. Somebody had to win, somebody had to lose. So, whatever happened here would have worked. So, right now, the Seahawks are in a position where the Bears are the one team that could win out and make it impossible for Seattle to get the 1 seed. But if Philly had won that game, they would have been that team. So it doesn't really matter which one it was. So I'm fine with this. I think that as much as the Eagles are having problems right now, they are more likely to win out after this game than the Bears. So I think that it's probably good the Bears won this game, but I'm not 100% sure. For all we know, the Bears are going to run the table, and then there's nothing we can do about it. But I think it's more likely the Eagles win out than the Bears at this point just because of the schedule. So, yeah, again, we'll see, but I'm good with it. And that gets us to Sunday. So, Sunday we got Niners getting continuing to get it done. Browns don't help us out, which isn't terribly surprising, but there was an opportunity here, right? They hung around in this game for a little bit. They had a shot. They almost went into halftime with a lead, and second half couldn't get anything going. And I mean, look, we don't have to have them lose. It is getting annoying though. They will not falter. They do not lose games that they're not supposed to lose. And it's pretty annoying. Jaguars beat the Titans. I think that's probably preferable because remember the Niners lost to the Jaguars. We beat the Jaguars. Maybe that comes into play later. It's somewhat unlikely, but I mean the Niners are going to beat the Titans when the Niners and Titans play in a week. Or they have a bye week this week. The next week I think they play the Titans. So there's not going to be any kind of a strength of victory angle there, but there is for Jacksonville, so I think that's totally fine. Texans beat the Colts again. Since we beat the Texans and the Niners didn't, that could end up mattering later. So I think that's good. Now, granted, we and the Niners have not played the Colts yet, and if we beat the Colts and the Niners lose to the Colts, then it's moot. But as of right now, the Texans winning is good. And also keep in mind that for all we know, we don't beat the Colts, and the Rams already did. So not arguing with this one at all. All right, Saints Dolphins. Yeah, whatever. Don't think this one really means much. So I guess you could have made an argument. We don't want the Saints to get a really high pick, but I mean somebody's going to get a really high pick. Just hope that it's not teams in your division, and I think the rest is just kind of gravy. So I'm not even really worried about that. We definitely got no help here. This is getting very, very stupid very, very quickly. I mean, the Jets, they blew it up about as hard as a team can blow it up at the deadline, and now they're winning games. And I didn't mind them winning a couple games. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me, but the Falcons finding a way to lose this game, where, by the way, Kirk Cousins was kind of dealing. Like, Kirk Cousins actually played good, and his receivers completely hosed him, and they end up finding a way to lose to the Jets. It's bad, people. And the Falcons, they got 5 games left. They're winnable, but it's starting to look like this is just a complete disaster. And all I can really say at this point is that when this is over, I just hope that the Falcons GM, I can't even remember his name, I just hope that he gets fired and never works in the NFL again. I think all we can hope for now is spite. This is already a complete disaster. All we can do now is hope that the person responsible suffers as much as possible. So that's a disaster. Buccaneers beating the Cardinals, also not great. I'd like the Cardinals to win at some point so they don't get a great pick. And Tampa Bay's a threat. I'm not worried about Tampa because of that losing streak they went on, but I mean they're going to be a playoff team in all likelihood. If I had to guess, they are going to make it. So, I mean, they're on some level a threat. They might be the team we play in the first round. And they do own the tiebreaker, so there is a scenario where things get a little bit greasy there. But yeah, not ideal. Ideal, however, was we finally got the big L put on the Rams. That officially means we control our destiny in the NFC West. We needed something good to happen here, and they didn't disappoint, man. I mean, it was a really fun game. It was a really good game, and I mean, Carolina needed it, right? Carolina needed it, and I will say that Carolina being involved in the playoff hunt could come back and bite us, but obviously that is well worth it here because we needed somebody to do something here so we could guarantee control of our own destiny. And I mean, let's face it, the Rams did actually show some weakness in this game, which it feels like they haven't shown a lot of this season. We needed a game like that, I think, just to remind us that, hey, this team is beatable. This team can be had. Bills beat the Steelers, not preferable just because of strength of victory stuff, but not a big deal. Raiders Chargers doesn't really mean anything, I don't think. Broncos Commanders. I mean, we beat the Commanders, I guess, but yeah, that was about it. So strength of victory says we wanted the Commanders to win. They did not. But again, not really worth thinking about. And Giants Patriots doesn't really do much. I guess that it hurts the Niners' strength of victory because they beat the Giants. I don't know. Pretty thin. So that's it for this week of action. And where does that leave Seattle? Well, first of all, numerically, statistically, if you take a look at the playoff percentages, the Seahawks actually only have the 5th highest odds of making the playoffs in the NFC. But as you can see, those odds are 89%, which, hey, I would take 89%. 89% is good. And according to the percentages, you have these 4 teams all at 90% or higher: Niners, Eagles, Rams, Packers. Seattle at 89, Tampa Bay at 80, Bears at 77. So basically, the percentages tell you that things are relatively in place playoff-wise in the NFC in terms of who makes it and who doesn't. It seems like these 7 teams have a big leg up on anybody else. The 8th place team is Detroit at 44. They're the only team that is currently out that has a good shot at it. Carolina's at 23, Dallas at 17, and nobody else really worth talking about. So, however you want to slice it, it would take a disaster for Seattle to not make the postseason. Now, division stuff, they still think the Rams are the favorite, although not against the field. And then they have the Niners at slightly higher than Seattle by literally 2%, but basically even. So that's where things are right now. And as for earning the first round bye, they still think the Rams are a big favorite. Seattle is 17%, which is higher than San Fran, but a little less than Green Bay. But all 3 of those teams basically in the same spot. They have the Bears at 12%. They have the Eagles at 7%. And I think, yeah, that's basically it. And then making the Super Bowl. Now, I think making the Super Bowl odds are kind of goofy in a league where you have single elimination postseason, but Seattle has the same odds as the Eagles and the 49ers, and behind Green Bay and LA, of course. But other than that, I think that's, they have 5% for Tampa, 6% for Chicago, 5% for Detroit, and that's basically it. So, I mean, pretty strong. And look, this Seattle team, they will do perfectly fine with just getting in. If they just get in, then that should put them in play for anything. And looking at the overall picture here, I mean, Detroit versus Dallas later this week, I think that's the Thursday game. Pretty much a classic loser leaves town game, right? So once that game gets played, I think we can just kind of dismiss whichever team loses that game. Also because of, although Dallas doesn't really get affected as much by tiebreakers because they have the tie, but Dallas versus Detroit does kind of feel like a playoff game, basically. And at that point, you're going to have whichever team wins that game, and then you're going to have Carolina kind of dangling there. And here's the thing. Carolina and Tampa have not played yet this year. Tampa Bay and Carolina play each other twice. So they're going to have to take each other out a little bit here. So the odds of both those teams getting hot here and just winning out, pretty low. I don't think that either team would necessarily get hot and win out anyway, but they really can't when they play each other. So that's one element at play here. One of those 2 teams is going to either knock the other one down or they're going to knock each other down a little bit. So I think everything's going to work out, but the NFC is good this year, man. Somebody good gets left out. See you guys later. Go Hawks.